events recently that I went to. One of my local elementary schools said, I was talking to a principal. Turns out she is a JET alumni. So you just never know. As Mark said, 1 in 1,000, you never know. We've got, more than a few thousand people in the Bay Area and then in San Francisco. So you could be talking to somebody who's also a fellow alumni. Again, not just the organizations, Japan-related academics, artists. We're in an international city and we're in an international area. And of course, to maintain your ties with Japan, yes, Japanese people too, and lots of Japanese organizations. So these are all the cool people that you can meet. So let me turn this back over to Mark.
Thank you, Arisa. And so the final reason why you should join, and this may be the best reason, is to have fun. And you can see we have this wide range of activities in many different areas: education, cultural, recreation, career development, networking. And here's just some examples. So those are, in a nutshell, kind of what you can get out of JET. I'd like to turn it over to Xander to talk a little bit about what you can do for us. So, Xander.
All right. So, how can I get involved? Right. That's kind of the big question that we are all asking. Well, all right. So, you're an alumni, whether you like it or not. The question is not, do you want to join? The question is, do you want to participate? So there are a bunch of different things you can do. The first is you can help organize a already existing JETAA event or initiative. On the left here are kind of some of our initiatives or events that we are currently doing. We have the Career Networking and Forum that I believe is going to be coming up in February. We have a Kabuki Club that meets fairly regularly. That's led by Mark, and I believe Mark will talk a little bit more about that later. We have a book club that I think also meets almost bi-monthly or so, some around there. We have our Shinenkai, our Bonenkai, that hopefully you guys are going to be attending. We have monthly networking nomikais. Right now I believe it's the first Thursday for San Francisco, the second Thursday for the South Bay, and the third Thursday for the East Bay of every month. And actually the East Bay has been really kicking San Francisco's butts on that for attendance rates. So I like to see people in San Francisco come out more for that. The consulate offers Japanese classes to JET alumni. So I just sent out the email for our intermediate and advanced Japanese language class. That's completely free. And you can come over here. It will be held here. That'll be starting in January. We also just finished our JLBT class for JLBT N1 that was free for people. We have our Hanami spring picnic and a summer barbecue, and we do various events with other local organizations. So that's currently some of the stuff we do right now, and if there's something that you want to become an organizer for, definitely reach out to us, because we're always looking for help to figure out like a venue or time, or coordinate with people. So you can help out with something that's already established. There are volunteer opportunities at other local Japan-related events. So for example, the Northern California Cherry Blossom Festival is really big. The Bonodori that go on around the Bay Area. We have the J-Pop Festival, Nihonmachi Street Fair, Japan Expo, Visit Japan, Otsukimi, Mochitsuki, and Kodomo no Hi, and lots of other events that, because JET alumni are in every Japanese organization and they're on these boards of directors that lead these programs, we can definitely volunteer and help out at those events. And that's a great way to tell people about the JET program that might not know otherwise. You can become a liaison to a Japanese-related organization. There are, this is just a few of the many Japanese-related organizations here in the Bay Area. I think Mark can mention a bit more later on about maybe some people in specific, but if you happen to be a part of another Japanese-related group, you can be a liaison for that in the JETAA. I'm sure if we talked to people at all these different organizations, we'd find at least one JET alumni, if not more. And so to be somebody as our outreach coordinator for a certain organization, that can really be beneficial, and that's a good way to get involved. You can assist the JET program. You can help me out, do my job. We need JET alumni for recruiting. So I have people help me for this last fall when I went up to a couple different universities. People do recruitment on my behalf in places I can't go to, like up in Chico or down south. Or this year I got to go to Nevada, but in other years when I can't go, we've used Nevada Jets. For bigger events as well, like UC Davis is a really big career recruiting event. I try to get some JET alumni to come help me with that. And of course, on your own account, you can talk to people that your cousins, your friends, family, coworkers, and tell them, hey, the JET program applications are up. You should really apply. The JET interviews, those will be coming up in February. Personally, I'm not still really sure exactly how I'm supposed to organize all that. I'm still as my first time through this, so I'm figuring all that out. But generally, about a third of the interviewers are JET alumni that we need to be on the panel. We have our alumni-led orientation that happens closer to summertime. That's as the title says, it's all alumni. We held it here. The past couple of years, we're going to be moving actually, so we won't have it here. I don't know where we're going to have it this next year, but there's about a dozen or so alumni that for a day presented on different topics to the outbound jets. That's a great way to get involved. We have a pre-departure orientation as well that you can volunteer at, and then also kind of re-entry, so helping the new jets who just came back from either Japan or who have moved into the area to readjust back to lifestyle in America. And really the most fun thing I think is to create your own event. So Mark and I were just at the JETAA national meeting in Minneapolis. And at the last day, every chapter came up and talked a little bit about different events that their chapter puts on that are really popular. And they had some great ideas. So I put up some on the left-hand side that I really like. There's a Nihongo Dake dinner, where if you don't know what that means, you probably don't want to come. So that was a great idea. Japanese movie night. I like the idea of they call it JET Talks, or basically like a TEDx JET kind of thing, where we can find people, hopefully JET alumni that know a lot about a certain area in Japan. We can kind of have presenters come in and discuss more academic topics. We can do our own Indokai Sports Festival. A lot of other programs or other chapters put on their own matsuri. So I don't know if you've been to the Japanese matsuris here in San Francisco. Personally, I don't think they're very authentic, but we can do our own kind of actual authentic matsuri with mochitsuki. One of the groups has a mochi maker, so they make mochi. I have a taiyaki maker. We can do all sorts of food, and we kind of put on our own actual matsuri. One of the other chapters is an Iron Chef cook-off, where they've made interesting combinations like pizza gyoza and other cool stuff. I really like the idea from New York of a yukata bar crawl. Obviously the weather is not really permitting right now, but maybe in the spring or summer, put on a yukata or a jinbei and just go hit up a couple of bars around here. That's a great way to get people to come over and ask, well, what's going on? Like, why are you guys wearing this? And oh, we're all JET alumni. JET, what's that? And we can tell them about the JET program. Karaoke club would be fun. Japanese classes for the public. One of the other chapters every month, I think, or every other couple of weeks, they in the library they just have a free basic Japanese class for anybody that's interested. It's a great way just to give back to the community for people who like to learn a little bit about Japan. You can talk to people over at AJET. We can do hiking, skiing, camping trips. One of the other chapters has a really popular hiking, JETAA hiking group, Las Vegas road trip, and really what I like to see us do in the future is not necessarily just have these big events where you have to plan it and you have to invite people and everything, but we want people to feel comfortable to post on the Facebook page or the group and say, hey, I'm going to grab beers tonight, does anybody want to come? Or does anybody want to come play Mario Kart at my place this weekend? Or something that's more casual. So it's not like you're always having to plan out these big events, but we want to encourage people to reach out to the group as just a cool group of people that have this, awesome shared experience that you can draw upon to come out to different events and hang out with. And I think that's something that a lot of us don't do right now. It feels like it can just be big events, but it's not just that, right? We have the occupation to be able to put on these big events, and that's great because we have the infrastructure, we have the funding, but we really want to encourage that grassroots part of it, if it's just, gonna go out and get dinner with some cool people. Yeah.
We used to have a thing called the show where we had undokai type of little, games or sports activities between us and other groups, such as the Japanese English Toastmasters, and so little activities like that. The trophy's still living at my house. But yeah, if anybody wants to revive something like that, that would be great too.
Yeah, we've done some joint nomikais with other, like the Japan Society. That was pretty good. And actually, I just completely forgot to even talk about what the picture is. So the one, kind of the personal pet project that I'm trying to head up is getting the shamisen scene started in the Bay Area. So I picked up shamisen when I was in Japan. I'm still, very, very beginner level, but there's actually a small group already of people in the Bay Area that play shamisen and other Japanese instruments, and they're really, really good, but they didn't have any kind of organization that they can play at or any way to connect with other people. So I've been working with them to hopefully, put on some shamisen performances or other, traditional Japanese music performances. We can put that as sort of a JET event. I know that there's other JET alumni that play these instruments. We want to encourage people to listen to this music. A lot of people, if you listen to the music, you think, oh, that's really cool. I want to go to Japan. How do I go to Japan? Oh, you can do JET. It all feeds into each other. So I've been working on this for a while, just on my own accord, and the JET AA&C really allows you to do things like that. You can join or chair a committee. So we have, again, kind of, the various committees that help run the organization, communications, finances, membership development, information technology, community outreach, sub-chapters, our South Bay, East Bay, San Francisco chapters. We have a scholarship, recovery assistance. There's lots of different ways that you can get involved with the organization of the chapter itself, which leads right into other leadership opportunities. So you can become an officer, president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, committee chair, board of directors, the JETAANC USA country representative. They're currently working really hard on making a stronger JETAANC USA right now, and hopefully in a year or so they'll have done that. And at that point, I'm sure there'll also be other positions opening up as well. And as Mark said, it looks really, really great on a resume. So we actually have, it's now 2,977 jets that are on our register. So there will be 23 more. And at that point, I'm going to go ahead and pass it back on to Mark.
We're almost to the end of the presentation, but I did want to talk a little bit about the bigger picture. And I want to share with you some really exciting things that are happening in the JET world, in the JET alumni world in general, but also some other big picture ideas, just to get your brainstorming going. The first is, as Andrew mentioned, we have a grant from the U.S. Japan Bridging Foundation to hire a project director, which we have, to look at the feasibility and then the practicality and then the implementation of a true official national organization, which is very, very exciting. So I'm privileged enough to be on the working group for that, and anyway, you're going to see a lot more related to this, but again, so often our chapters are kind of like little islands, but this would be a great way to tie us all together and really make us a national force. So this picture was taken in DC. I promise I'm looking at her sheet of paper there. And this is basically a conference that they hold every year of organizations that are involved in U.S. and Japan educational exchange. So the State Department was there, very high officials at Ministry of Foreign Affairs on the Japanese side. Just every high-level organization you could imagine, and we were there the first time, JETAANC. And what was amazing is you had about, I don't know, about 50 people in this kind of UN-style conference room, and they had a little microphone that you had to press a button to speak, and the little light comes on and all that. And by one point, after we introduced ourselves, we said, well, you know, how many of the people in this room are JET alumni? And like 80%, I know, to me it seemed like 80%, but it was like 60, 70%, everyone was laughing, because none of us knew that we were, you know, we were all alumni. So anyway, you're part of that network, and you have connections to these people, you know, and you can become these people as well. So anyway, that's a kind of bigger picture thing that's going on that you can get involved in. I talked about this already, but apparently, you know, there's obviously many ways that you can continue to help Tohoku. This is an idea I had just beyond Tohoku. It's a grim reality that Japan faces natural disasters all of the time. Even my own beloved Aso region in Kumamoto had terrible mudslides that killed about 20 people this summer. And so it was kind of an idea that gelled in my head that we could have a kind of a clearinghouse to connect JET alumni who want to contribute to these local disasters in Japan. And it would be a really direct way that we could try to help Japan. So if you're interested in that, let me know. School visits, it's something we used to do. It's something that the consulate would love for us to do again. We can partner with the JCCC, which does a Japan Society, but actually going to the schools, seeing some cute American shogakusei, you know, which I think we all loved and enjoyed when we were in Japan. We give back to Japan in so many ways, but we're really awful about tracking it. And so AJET came up with a little app where if you do something you know, kind of charity related or community involvement, you can just enter in the basic data in the app, and then it compiles all the information, and then pretty soon we're going to Claire and saying, oh my God, you know, we saved you $2 billion, you know, because it was all volunteer work for free that you would have had to pay for in promoting Japanese culture, for example. And then the prefectures in Japan are really interested in reconnecting with alumni. And so it's a great way, you know, we all love our own prefectures. And so there's very little linkage though. And so if you wanted to be a liaison to your prefecture on behalf of the national JETAANC, you know, that's one example. So these are just ideas that are kind of gelling. And if you have interests, please let me know. Very quickly, I just want to give you a quick case study as to something that you can do if you have your own idea. So I guess about 3 or 4 years ago, well, sorry, back up. When I was in Japan, I became kind of a kabuki fan, freak, otaku, in Kyushu. And when I came back, I said, oh, wouldn't it be great if I could kind of keep up with it? And then I found another freak. And then, so that freak and I said, well, gosh, if we meet up and we kind of watch and study kabuki video, we'll just put it out there and we'll see, you know, maybe there's some other freaks. And so we held our first meeting at the public library just down the street from here, and 5 people showed up. And we're like, oh, whoa, okay. So about, fast forward 4 years later, and we now have like 30 to 50 people from the general public show up to these classes that we hold throughout the year, and it's really grown into a really nice, cool thing. And it just goes to show that if you have your own passion, you have your own interest in Japanese culture, if you put it out there, other people will be interested. So it's just kind of the key, if you're kind of thinking about how you can do more with one of your passions, you know, the things I've learned from this are start small and grow slow. Identify that passion, which will keep you going. Find a couple other people who share it, put it out in the world, and grow it organically. And, you know, pretty soon you'll have like a nice little program going. Okay, how can you get connected? And this is talking, you know, we're kind of in a digital world, so I think it's going to be focused on that. Obviously, the best is person to person, but, you know, Join JETAANC, there's a join button on our website you can click. Follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook groups. And then within the LinkedIn universe and Facebook, there's groups that you can join. I can join a LinkedIn group just for Kumamoto Jets. You know, you can join one for, make one for East Bay alumni, whatever, you know.
I have one for nonprofits.
Risa has one for nonprofits. So there's a lot of different ways you can get connected online with our larger network. In fact, to compile that list of cool people, I know a ton of people just over the years, but I went through LinkedIn, and you can actually select for like Jet alumni in the Bay Area, and then all these people come up, which you didn't even know existed out there. And then jetwit.com. How many of you know about jetwit.com? A few? Okay, quite a few. It was put together by an alum in New York. It is kind of the de facto website for, you know, global Jet alumni. I mean, it's amazing. So if you haven't checked it out, do so, please. What are some of the resources that we offer? And this is an area that you might want to get involved in just to help us build up our resources for other alumni. So we have a beautiful website that has a ton of information, including a resources page with like hundreds of links to Japan-related things in our area, organizations, Japanese gardens, restaurants, whatever you can think of. So if you have a favorite Japanese thing in this area, submit it. Let's put it up on the website. Maybe someone else will be happy to find it. We now have a career networking page, an activities page, JetWit, as I said, and our national organization has a really nice webpage now too that has a lot of resources.